everybody. Welcome to Para-Ops, Open-Minded Paranormal Skeptics. I'm your host, Sky. We have Seth, our Public Relations Manager, and Alan and Larissa, our founders, on as guests today.
Hello. How you guys
We
doing
are
today?
going to talk to you about the Toboggan Inn and a little evidence clip that we have. Seth, do you want to give them a little backstory? What you just...
So I just watched this clip for the first time. Oh, second time. Right before we hopped on here, and it looks like you guys were using some kind of tripwire, hooked up to a light.
Yep.
So how does that go off per se?
Just like that.
Are you guys okay?
Yeah.
No, we're not. The house is possessed.
So the tripwire setup it's a proximity sensor. So when anything goes near it, it automatically lights up. So it's and there's different points on it.
Gotcha. So kind of like how a REM pod works, how it sends out that field.
Yep. Pretty much, just a different way it's laid out.
All right, gotcha.
Okay, so we're going to show you guys a clip to see what your thoughts are.
Well,
but before we do that, I would like Alan and Larissa to give some backstory because they have been there.
Yes, so that's what I was going to tell you. Okay, so the Toboggan Inn in Eagle Bay, New York. So I'm not going to say who was out there, but somebody else was out there, and it was something that was it was on a broadcast, and I believe it was Alan who actually saw it, and he had mentioned that, there wasn't really like a whole lot that was gotten out of it. And it was weird because like a month later, I got an email from the owner, and I guess he was looking for another group to come in, and somehow he came across us, and he was like, hey, I had these people here, but I really don't feel like I got what I needed. So I was like, okay, well, we'll take a trip up there. And it was just me, Alan, and one other former member. And we drove up to Eagle Bay. And as soon as I walked into this place, I turned to this dude and I said, who's Chris? And he was like, no way. And I go, yes. I said, he is coming at me. He wants me to know he's here. Take me to Chris. And then there was another moment in the very beginning when we were doing like introductions and like getting ready to go up and find Chris and get set up and all that. There was a moment when I looked at him and I told him a local legend that I had seen, and he was like, oh my God, that wasn't on the show. There's no way you could know that. And I was like, well, I'm seeing it very clearly. And we got a ton of evidence out of this, a ton. But one of the cooler things that we got was up in the attic where this entity Chris hangs out. We did an EVP session and we actually got answers to his questions, or to our questions, like in a row as we were asking them. So he was definitely active there, and he definitely just wanted Mike to know that he was there. And so this is the beginning of the investigation before the EVP session, before all that. The other investigator went upstairs with Mike. That's Mike and the investigator in the picture. And that's actually Mike's security camera that caught that activity.
Yeah, so we were headed out of town the next day, and we were actually in line at Dunkin'. And Mike is sending us these clips because he was so hooked from the night before, investigating with us and doing experiments. He's like, look what I got. And we couldn't believe it when we saw it either.
It was amazing.
So that's not even one of your cameras. That's his.
That was Mike, former owner of the Toboggan Inn. He shared that with us the next morning.
Okay.
That is really cool.
Interesting, right? Because it wasn't even
That is really neat.
Our trail cams definitely caught all of that. Like the tripwire was in front of the trail cam, and there's nobody else in the room. We could have picked any of those clips to really show you, but this one, I don't know what I'm looking at. You have three things happening in here. You have the tripwire. You have an orb. I believe what is an orb. And please, if you're watching, tell us if it's an orb. And then you have something that's so weird at the back of the hallway or in the middle of the hallway.
Yeah, if anyone has an answer for that's watching, I would love it because I'm clueless.
Me too.
It's cool to watch, though.
Yeah, Mike had the aerial cam there, and he got all three in like 50 seconds. It was amazing.
But 47 seconds is when you see what happens in the middle of the hallway, and it's very fast.
Yeah, I missed it my first time watching. It wasn't until we were setting up and you gave me the time mark. I was like, oh, there it is.
Are you ready to show it?
Yeah, let's do it.
So let me play that.
Okay, looks good. Awesome. A great trick with this here is that it looks passive. We wanted to know if it was there. You know, if it was there, you could show us and press it. Really? Yeah, that's pretty impressive. That's impressive.
What is that?
I don't know. So so that room where you have the tripwire in, what room is that? Like, is there any like history in the room?
There was history to the building. I didn't know the history at the time. Actually, when we went up there, those were apartments. And what was relayed from the owner about the previous people that were there that did their airing or whatever they did, he was saying that was where they detected this negative entity that didn't want them up there. And he always felt like when he went up there, like it wasn't negative. He just felt more like this entity was trying to communicate with him, and Mike doesn't have the ability to communicate. And he was getting a lot of communication on his cameras. He was getting the name Chris. He would hear whispers of Chris on his cameras when nobody's up there in this attic. And he was renovating it so that him and his wife could use it as an apartment over the restaurant and bar. And every time they tried to renovate, stuff happened and the renovations would stop because the people doing them didn't want to be up there. And eventually, sadly, the Toboggan Inn shut down. Like, he no longer, it's not, we were the last people to ever investigate it. It's closed down now. He packed his stuff up and went on to something else.
Really? I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay. There was that much activity that he didn't want to deal with it.
It wasn't that. It was that he couldn't get the renovations completed. He couldn't get, anytime he tried to get work done, and it was just too hard. They wanted to live in that apartment up there. And there was anxiety, there was fear, there was all these emotions, and there were new business owners. They had taken this establishment over, and they weren't expecting. They were sincerely non-believers before getting this restaurant. And Mike found himself obsessed with watching camera footage to try and communicate. Like, he became a believer almost overnight, but unfortunately, that got in the way of their business.
So as a psychic, what are your thoughts on each thing that you saw? What do you think?
I know the tripwire was Chris, because when we went up there and I asked the questions, first of all, I did my reading real quick. He was not, this entity was not in any broadcast or nothing like that. I knew it as soon as I came in there. When I went up to the attic, I stopped at that room. And mind you, I didn't know that there was tripwire activity going off because I'm not watching cameras. I'm walking around. I stopped right at that room. I turned left and I said, he's right in here. I said he died of a drug overdose in the 1970s. He was 28 years old. And he just wants Mike to know that he's here. And he wanted help. He just wanted to communicate. He was frustrated, and it was like a light bulb went off, and we played back that EVP. And as I'm saying these things out loud, you hear him saying, yes, 28, 79. Like he was confirming what I was saying in EVPs as I was saying it. It was amazing.
Oh,
the thing coming down the hallway, I'm not going to lie. Like, sometimes I see orbs in real time. Like, as I'm walking, I'll be like, oh my God, an orb just went by. And I know it's an orb. It's the shape of it, the color of it, and all that. Like some things you just can't explain. I don't know what that was. I mean, we were up there. It was cold. So, I mean, I don't know if there were bugs up there. I don't really know. I'm not really an orb specialist. You know, people, when you see an orbs, hesitate to say that it is. But whatever that was at the back of the hallway that shot by, I don't know. I have never seen that
It looks
before.
like it's trailing.
Yes.
Like
It was
something's
quick.
trailing, right?
So there was a little boy that was running around upstairs. And I encountered him when I was first coming up the steps, and he led me around the hallway, and there's a wall. Like it looks like there should have been a door there, but it was like somehow sealed up. And he had a red ball, and he turned the thing and he threw the ball, and he went right into that area. And like, here I am, and it's a wall. So I turned to them and I'm like, at one time this had to be open. I think it was him running around up there, honestly. But I've never seen something like manifest in a darting of smoke. Like it almost didn't even feel human watching it.
Can we play it again? Can we watch it again?
Yeah, of course. Let me pull that back up. There we go.
Okay, looks good. Awesome. A great trick with this here is that it looks passive. We wanted to know if it was there. You know, if it was there, you could show us and press us. Really? Yeah, that's pretty impressive. That's impressive.
Shooting across.
I don't know what
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah,
If
I
you blink,
question the.
you miss it.
Yeah,
You blink, you miss it. Yes.
Yep. I mean, you can obviously in the beginning and throughout, you can see the car lights at the
Yes.
top of it. That's obvious, but there is some that darts on the upper right, on the upper left there. So I don't know if that's an orb or a bug, but you know, I don't recall too many bugs in that place that night.
It was freezing.
Yeah, it was freezing cold. But you know, we got tons of evidence there. He also sent us another video camera footage that he got where we were doing an experiment in the room right next door to it across the hall. And I think you could hear a growling or something when we were asking questions. So there's definitely a lot of activity just in that part of the building.
Yes. And when we went down into the basement, there was a very heavy like feeling of like dread. And it wasn't like the dread of like, oh, I'm afraid of the basement. It was, I started to kind of like get these puzzle pieces of like a mafia connection. And I turned to him and I said, I really feel like somebody was murdered and buried in this area. And he looked at me and he said, they're under this cement block. We haven't gotten it open, but something keeps coming up on the cameras and saying that something's buried in the basement. Go and dig it up. And I was like, oh my God, no. Like I would
on the cameras?
Yeah, he was getting it on his cameras. Like he sent us tons of stuff. And we're like, this is crazy. Like just on security cameras.
Huh.
Goodness.
Yeah. And you know what? I'll tell you right now, on my home ring, I have caught things that one of the first things we ever posted as a group was a picture of, I don't know what it was. And you know what? We're going to put that on the next episode, guys. If anybody can identify that crypto weirdness, that'd be great. But just on a ring camera, like nuts.
Yeah.
That is very cool. Now, for the Toboggan, do you still have any of those old videos and bits of evidence that he had sent to you guys?
Very funny,
Thanks,
Frank. He would dig it up. No, we're not digging up anything. It's long gone. The Toboggan, it's closed now. I actually reached out to him to do a follow-up investigation with all of us as a new team after the rebrand. and it's closed down. It's just sitting dormant now.
That stinks. I'd really like to go there.
It's very beautiful downstairs,
It's
the dining
gorgeous.
area and the bar. Very
Yeah.
nice place.
And
Yeah.
the funniest part of the whole scenario is that there was another woman with us the whole time who was actually about to close on the building. Like, she had bought the building, she had bought the business from Mike, and everything was moving forward. And she was on this investigation because he was leaving and wanted closure, and she wanted to know what she was getting into. And then after we left and we aired the footage and everything, Mike sent me an email and he's like, "Yeah, we're closing up shop."
We're done
Okay.
here. Wrap it up.
Carissa would like to know how the tripwire works. We did.
So the tripwire it senses EMF. So and there's like a plane of, as Keith explained it. I'm not an evidence tech. He's the evidence tech, but as Keith explained it, there's like some kind of plane around it. Like, it emits like some kind of energy signal, and a certain amount of EMF energy has to like break that plane for it to go off. So you can't like just jump up and down on the floor and get it to go off. Like, you have to actually be in its vicinity. As we learned at the distillery, right, Sky? Like, if you get too close to it, it goes off. You have to break the plane.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Hey,
Hey.
Marlena.
Yeah, so, I mean, all in all, I would say that was one of our best investigations. Like, it was very gratifying, like, to get a business owner that was like super, had gotten the info.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
It was humbling that they reached out to us after a major paranormal team went there to investigate. So it's very humbling that he reached out to us, of all people.
Yeah.
That
I feel like
very
if Mike
cool.
still had that business open, we'd all be booking a trip there. But
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That would be a
yeah,
great
he was a really great guy.
he
Very
was,
nice.
he
Yep.
was. So
All right.
Can we play that clip one more time? And then viewers, if you guys have any thoughts,
Absolutely.
bring it in the comments, please.
Yep. So there's
We'll
three
call it
parts
out.
to it, right? There's the tripwire going off, an orb in the upper left, and if you look at the hallway right behind the right side there, you'll see something at 47 seconds. Looks like it's shooting across.
But do
Let us
not
know
blink,
what
you
it
will
is.
miss it.
yes, don't blink.
Again, you will miss it.
No blinking allowed.
All right, here we go.
Okay, looks good. Awesome. That great trick with the stairs that it was passive. We wanted to know if it was there. You know, if it was there, you could show us and press it. Really? Yeah, that's pretty impressive. That's impressive.
Yeah. So we'd
Still
love
no.
to hear people opinion on that. Those three pieces there.
All right.
What do you guys think?
I
I
got
myself. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
no. You go ahead. I got nothing.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I don't see the orb in the top left. I've looked for that the last two times. I don't see it. I don't know if I'm just stupid.
No, no.
But I definitely do see something dart across. It looks too fast to be a bug. You know what I mean? And too large for the perspective it's at. But other than that, I'm not really sure.
I got nothing.
Yeah.
We're gonna keep giving Seth and Sky evidence clips from places that they weren't. And Seth, being brand new to the paranormal industry, I love hearing his perspective when he sees stuff he can't explain.
So Seth, that orb, the questionable one, is when the tripwire is on. So
Yeah.
you'll see it come over
Oh,
on
okay.
the screen there. Yep.
Rewatch
Okay,
it 100 more times.
It's
Yeah, I was
almost
gonna
like
say I've been looking for it afterward.
It's almost like the person set the tripwire off, and then he was like, "Hey, okay, I'm gonna go over here now," and walks across.
Pretty
And then
much.
something else is like, "All right, I'm gonna run."
Yeah. Like,
Slams right into the wall. I don't.
no.
Yeah.
I can't explain. It's not a flashlight, right? Nobody was standing on
No.
the end.
Nobody was
of the
upstairs.
wall.
We were downstairs, and Rick and the owner went, or the investigator and the owner went downstairs. So we have no idea. No idea. But I'd be interested to hear what the fans think out there and what our audience thinks of the footage.
Absolutely.
Send us a message or drop a comment on the broadcast or a comment
Even
on our
on the
page.
video.
Huh?
Even on the video shows. After we post this, you guys can feel free to rewatch a million times with us because we're all stumped.
Yeah. All right. Well,
All right.
I'm going to go pick out more things to stump people.
That's a good idea.
There you go. And in the meantime, we will see you on the next live stream.
Thanks, guys, for watching. And thank you for those of you that will watch this in the future on the playback.
Have a great night, guys.